The occasional address is to be delivered by Dr. Robert Kerr, Strategic Geographies Leader at Arup Australasia. Robert has not only been recognised as one of the university's most esteemed alumni by winning a UNSW Alumni Award in 2012, but his significant contributions to society have been honoured at the highest national level as well. In 2012, he was awarded an Order of Australia for his services to engineering, business, humanitarian programs and athletics. Since graduating from UNSW with a Bachelor of Civil Engineering in 1973 and a Doctor of Philosophy in 1978, Robert has enjoyed a career spanning over 40 years that has taken him all around the world. His leadership style is characterised by a unique combination of humility, humanity and commerciality, and his strong sense of purpose inspires others to achieve great things alongside him. He is currently a Principal and Strategic Geographies Leader of global consulting group Arup and has 4 fellowships across Australia and the UK. His commitment to the community is reflected in his deep involvement with the global charity Common Purpose and also with Red R Australia, a not-for-profit organisation who send qualified engineers to disaster zones worldwide. These activities and achievements have ensured that Robert has won numerous industry awards throughout his career. Engineers Australia has also featured Robert in their top 100 most influential engineers 5 times since 2008. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Robert Kerr.
Pro-Chancellor Professor Henry, members of the University of New South Wales, graduates, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the invitation. I'm honoured and humbled to be here. I woke this morning and I had a choice. I could become a grumpy old man, I'm already old, or I could be optimistic, have hope and think of possibilities. I'll leave you to understand why that might be. What a wonderful occasion, the culmination of all the hard work and the sacrifice that you and by those who love and support you have made. You have done it. I recall when I enrolled in UNSW in 1969 at the converted bowling alley on Anzac Parade, there was a view that if you were clever enough to get enrolled, you probably deserved a degree. I'm sure it's not like that now. I'm really impressed with the graduates that this organisation produces. In preparing for today, I asked one of my younger colleagues what you would like to hear, what I should tell you. And she said, humour. She said, just be funny, tell jokes. They won't remember anything you say or who you are, and they probably could do with a laugh or two about now. I thought about that daunting charge for a bit and concluded that the university has the wrong person. But then I realised that, with all due respect to those who might be, she's an architect and a project manager and she probably doesn't understand what engineers might actually need. I'll leave it to you as to whether you laugh, cry, sleep or listen. Now, a little over 43 years ago, I first graduated from this university. I know I don't look quite that old, and I embarked upon my engineering degree. If I thought about it, and frankly I didn't, I would have concluded that I had a very clear view of what would happen next. My career would be about structural engineering, about building bridges, not walls, and other things. And it would be highly mathematical, because that's what I thought engineering was about. Of course, in time it didn't work out that way, and my view has now changed. I'll come back to that as to what actually happened later. In your cases, after something like 16 years of formal education, your brains are probably pretty full. The good news, or perhaps the challenging news, is that over your career, over your lifetime, most of what you've learned to date will eventually be of little or no use to you. Now, that's not to denigrate the great job that you have done, nor the fantastic staff at UNSW has done in filling your brains. Rather, it is the hope that you've learnt to think. Rather, it's the hope that you have actually learnt to think, because this lifelong journey of learning, of growth, of change, of failure, of recovery from that failure, of correction and of thinking, if you don't embrace that reality, you will be left behind. It's also likely that in time, almost half of you will be doing what a lot of the uninformed do not call engineering, or call engineering. And maybe only 15% of you will actually do things that are technical engineering endeavours. That's not a bad thing, it's a reality. And I'd also, in thinking about that, encourage you to take a very broad view of what engineering is about. I'll come back to that. So back to my story. Early on, my work was about what I had studied: structural engineering, highly mathematical, designing things. My one and only bridge came a lot later, but that's a story I won't tell today. But as my life and career unfolded, my roles became about projects, about clients, about management, about contracts, and then about leadership, about vision and strategy, but most importantly about people and community. But in the long run, for me, it came back to working with people. It became about coaching and mentoring those people that I worked with. Engineering was merely the context in which I operated. I realised that business value to the community and to our clients was about team, about gathering the best and most capable people with the right attitude around you, and then with them forging a high-performance team. And that is where a skill that develops with experience around coaching and mentoring comes into play, leading through coaching and encouraging people. If you like, quiet and servant leadership rather than heroic leadership. So now I'm going to abandon all hope of making you laugh and instead provide some advice that you won't remember. But what I would advise is this, and I do hope, if you don't listen to it or remember it, buy the DVD and you can reflect upon my remarks later. You and your colleagues can make a difference in the world, and boy, don't we need it. I gave a similar talk to this 6 years ago or thereabouts and made a similar point. If anything, the challenges are greater today. Resource scarcity and security, water, food, energy, we all need those. Poverty, growing inequality, urbanisation, climate change, all of those are engineering challenges. You may be thinking, so what next? What's in it for me? I suggest you think more about what you can give. All else follows from what you give. You will be rewarded in many ways for making that difference that I'm charging you to make. I mean least of all monetarily. We are engineers after all. But yes, even monetarily, you will be rewarded. But the point I'd like to make is this, that in order to receive, you must give. I've learnt that when you give, you get more in return in a whole range of many and varied ways. No one owes us a living or an obligation to listen to what we say as engineers. We have to earn that right, and we have to talk the right language. To illustrate my point, the British rail industry came to a near standstill in 2001 because the industry managers, mostly non-engineers, couldn't hear the engineers or weren't listening, in part because the engineers thought that they should be listened to and they were speaking a language that the managers didn't understand. As a simple example, it was known that a section of track needed to be replaced, yet no one could take the decision to remove that section of track. Eventually the rails failed, people were killed, people were injured, and a lot of damage was done to many people. In dealing with that aftermath, debacle, I came across the term mischievous obedience. Contemplate that. Where eventually the system breaks down because the informed people do what they're told, even when they know failure is almost certain. Now, they didn't intend to hurt anyone, but the breakdowns in communication and trust like that in the world we have is just unacceptable. We have a professional, a moral and ethical responsibility to prevent such failings. My second piece of advice is to emphasise the need to look after yourselves. It's not for nothing that flight attendants tell you to fix your mask before you help others. But we often don't listen. I watch on the planes these days and I look at how many people are paying attention. And you know what it's about? It's about one, because it's me. Under pressure we fail because we haven't listened, we haven't taken it input. And sharing a little of my own story, finding myself overqualified in Australia in the late 70s, I joined Arup in London and slowly built my engineering career. A combination of hard work, being in the right place at the right time, luck, and taking opportunities advanced my career at quite a rapid pace. Nothing was out of reach. Great projects, great colleagues, great patrons, international travel, expatriate living and rapid promotion. All great stuff. Leading projects, people, organisations before I was fully ready. But succeeding. And success is a very heady drug. The pressure builds and eventually I took a step too far. Working too hard, stretching myself beyond the edge, I got into serious trouble. Strangely enough, none of my colleagues recognised the problem as I grappled with severe depression. My performance was still at a high-ish level, so they say. And after 3 years of struggle, I finally woke up to myself and sought help. And with that help, I rebuilt myself and my career. There are two messages out of this that I want to share. Seek out mentors and coaches who can help you with your personal and your career development, hopefully so that you don't crash and burn as I did. I wouldn't recommend it. But if you get in that bad place, seek help. There is no shame in getting that help. Second message, be there for others. There will be people around you who haven't got their masks on and need to put them on. Do what you do to help them and support them. And my third piece of advice on a related level is to seek balance in your life. I refuse to use the term work-life balance because work is part of life. You need to enjoy what you're doing, your work. You've just qualified to do particular things. If you don't enjoy it, why stick at it? And you, as I, unlike many others, have choices. To achieve that balance and exercise choice, select wisely the things you do, the elements of work, family, friends, self, community and charitable work to balance your life. You have chosen a great calling, designing and building our futures. In consulting, contracting, in industry, in finance, in management, or even politics. We desperately need engineers in politics. There are far too few making sure that we're addressing and solving the right problems as opposed to solving problems that are determined by people who never really understand our physical world. Knowledge is not just about empirical evidence. You all have the skills to make a huge difference, a major contribution to the people on our tiny, cool, blue planet. There are wonderful opportunities out there. Take those opportunities. And one final message, just go for it. Just go for it. Embrace change, embrace failure. Many of you might not have seen that before, but embrace failure. Recover from it, pick yourself up and go again and again. Fail again, learn again. Succeed and learn. Grow. Just go for it. Give and receive. Understand it's all about people. Trouble the comfortable and comfort the troubled. Inspire and drive some and help and support others. Our profession needs you. Our world needs you. So in closing, just let me say this. Today is a wonderful celebration of your achievement. It's also a celebration of those that have supported you along the way. Partners, parents, wider family, friends, their support is priceless. Don't forget to thank them. So congratulations to you all. Please make that difference that you're capable of making. Enjoy your day and enjoy your careers ahead. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Robert. Graduation ceremonies give us the opportunity to hear the wisdom of an eminent member of society, and on behalf of all assembled today, I express the University's appreciation to you for your contribution to this, our most important